Your teen wakes up with a kinked neck, cracks and pops from the moment they get out of bed. Headaches they blame on nothing. If that sounds familiar, you're not imagining it. And you are not alone. This week, Houston area chiropractor Dr. Alayna Pagnani-Gendron breaks down why so many tweens and teens are hurting in ways their parents never did at that age and what's really behind it. Hint starts way earlier than the first cell phone. We get into posture, headaches, backpacks, growing pains, and the simple, doable changes that make a real difference without a fight. If you've ever wondered whether your kid's aches are normal, this one's for you. Hey there, and thanks for joining us for Moms in the Middle. This is a brand new podcast from the team at Houston Moms focused on those in between years. We're talking about tweens, teens, even young adults. And we are literally Houston moms navigating a lot of the same challenges you are. We're going to try to talk about a lot of it, and we're always open for suggestions. So before I introduce today's guest, let me know what you want to hear about. You can email Brandi at houstonmom.com. That's Brandi with an I at houstonmom.com. Okay, logistics out of the way. Today we are tackling something that I think every parent of a teen has noticed, but maybe never had explained. The aches, the headaches, the cracking and popping, the slouch. Why are so many of our kids in actual pain at such a young age? To help us figure it out, I'm excited to welcome Dr. Alayna Pagnani-Gendron. She's a chiropractor and owner at Health Pro Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Dr. Pagnani, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Excited to chat with all of you.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. So we were talking just before we started recording, and my 19-year-old just cracks from like the moment she wakes up in the morning to the moment she goes to bed. And I've heard her in her room, like making these noises. So one of the topics I know we need to cover with you is like why teens are in pain, why they're getting these headaches, their posture,
Mhm.
growing pain. Like so many questions need answers. But let's start with, I think, one every parent of teens and tweens can relate to, and that is the changes that we see in our kids' posture
Mhm.
because they spend so much time on their
Yeah.
phone. What are you seeing in your practice?
Um, it's crazy. So I've been in practice for 15 years, like have my own practice, and I have seen a dramatic difference in younger kids coming in with neck pain,
Mm.
like to the point where they can't move. It's called almost like spasmodic torticollis, where their neck just locks up. I'm sure, as an adult or a parent, you probably had that before, but this isn't really common in kids unless maybe they had a fall or doing gymnastics or something, but now it's like they're waking up with like their neck all kinked to the side. And we're seeing really poor posture. And it definitely, I think, contributes to all the screen time that they're doing. Of course, like kids now are getting phones and using phones, but maybe even the younger ones are starting off with like iPads. Even in schools, they're giving kids iPads. I mean, my kindergartner was doing work on the iPad on the floor, sitting down. And so, of course, if they're starting that at age 5, when they become a teenager, it's been years of this like really poor positioning, and the body can't handle that extra stress and that extra load, what we call anterior head carriage. So the front of the head is moving forward, right? And so we're adding all this extra stress and strain on the neck, and then they're coming in with neck pain. And so it's just unfortunate to see, it happening earlier and earlier in kids. And I feel like it's really due to posture, biomechanics, how they're forced to sit in school and use the computers now. I mean, it's necessary, right? Like we all have to work on a laptop or a computer, but what we're not doing is allowing them to take enough breaks or teaching them the right skills and tools to set it up correctly. Or lastly, like they're just spending hours and they're not working their muscles, their posture muscles to hold themselves up properly.
So what would you recommend to parents? Obviously, they can't regulate during the school day,
Yeah.
but you have your kid when they're home. How do
I mean,
you adjust that?
yeah, it's hard. If you can set boundaries on screen time, I think that's always best. Of course, if you have like a high schooler, they may need to do some of their work on the computer, but try to encourage that at least when they come home, they take a break. A big thing in my house is like you have to do some body movement exercise every day. So whether that be like a sport that they're doing, or they go ride their bike, or they're taking a walk with a friend, they have to move their body in some way. So that's a good reset. The other thing is like setting limits, like, okay, we're going to work for 45 minutes to do our homework on the computer, and then we're going to take a 15-minute brain break and like move our body in some way. And then, of course, like trying to be as ergonomic correct. A lot of kids will lay in bed, hunched, or the couch, or they're just like at the kitchen table kind of doing this. So maybe we could set up a desk properly. We always recommend sitting on a ball chair. We actually sit on them at the office. They're really easy and affordable. You can get them off Amazon. Google ball desk chair, comes with a ball with a little base. They have to sit up. They have to work those posture muscles without even knowing it.
That's good advice for adults as
Yeah.
well.
It's
Are
well, and you teach them then so that as adults, hopefully we don't have these chronic issues.
I can't imagine, are you seeing younger and younger patients coming in for chiropractic care? I mean, when you first started this practice, I imagine the median age of patients was quite a bit older.
So my specialty is in pediatrics, so I've seen kids. Yeah. So that's been a big part of my practice. So yes, I see very, very little ones, but I will say it's more common now to see tweens that are having pain, because kids shouldn't have pain, right?
You
And
would
so
hope
that's,
not.
yeah, that's
But
where I'm seeing the trends happen.
neck pain isn't the only thing, we see them get headaches, they're fatigued, they've got tension throughout their body. Do you feel like that is also linked to screen time, or are there other is it just that they're not moving their body enough?
I mean, some of that, yes, I think screen time is a huge culprit to a lot of the issues that we're having. But for sure, like positioning and posture. So even if you're doing, like a pad and paper notebook, like we're looking down, so that's gonna like put added stress and strain. Um, and then just not knowing how to move our body. You remember when you were a teen or tween and you're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know how to feel. Like I'm trying to play these sports, but I really don't know how to move my body correctly. And so, what's best is to maybe invest in like a really good coach or trainer for them. Just, not all the time, but just to give them the basics and the foundation so that they can strengthen their core and their posture muscles properly, because that will help them long term for sure.
Talking about some of the other pains that
Mhm.
your clients come in with, what about, like, growing pains? How do you distinguish that versus maybe something worse?
Yeah. Growing pains is typically going to present as like pain at night.
Mm.
Maybe some like joint pain. It's going to be kind of random or sporadic, and it's going to come and go. It's not going to be there all the time, and it's going to be more of a like a dull ache. And so typically what I do is I ask parents or the child, right? Have you been eating more? Have you been sleeping more? Have you like are your clothes getting smaller, is there anything else changing in the sense of like puberty wise or developmentally wise, like have we seen a shift in attitude or just behavior or like eating? In that case, it's probably more growing pains, in which case, nutritionally we can help them. We can recommend they take some magnesium, which can help. We can make sure that they're like properly hydrated. Uh, but if it's not presenting as growing pains, then we can explore like, is there something else going on in the body that we can correct through some chiropractic care and maybe some exercises?
Got it.
Mhm.
I know one of the things, that really troubled me with my daughter, who's now 19, but when she was in high school, her backpack was heavier than anything I have to
Mhm.
carry. And I carry, like, a camera, laptop, hard drive,
Yeah.
I'm my backpack's probably a solid 25 pounds, but the weight in that backpack, often slung over one shoulder,
Yeah.
cannot be good.
It's terrible. It's really terrible. And it's hard at that age because they're don't, they they have an appearance. They don't want to like feel different and they want to look cool, you know. So do your best, right? What I recommend is like, please use your locker as much as possible. Leave the books at home that you can, that you know that you don't need. So a lot of this is like organization. Okay, I'm going to need this today, so I bring this. The other stuff I can either leave at school or leave at home. I'm going to make sure that I utilize my locker instead of social time. I go to my locker to like change out my books or whatever I need. And then ideally they'd wear two straps. So at least when parents are seeing them, it's a reminder, put both straps on, put both straps on. So at least some of the time they're doing that. And I mean, if it's really an issue, you could always buy them a roller backpack, but no high schooler is gonna carry that around.
Even as adults, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, no."
But ideally, you know, it's limiting what's in the backpack, being strategic about it, and making sure that you're wearing the backpack properly, like both straps. And even, okay, maybe friends aren't around, like I'm walking home, I'm gonna wear the buckle around my waist to also help. So giving them those tools where they feel comfortable enough to like utilize them and expecting it's not gonna be perfect, but even small changes make a big difference.
Are there any other issues that you see a lot in your teenage clients?
Um, I think we don't realize like how much stress affects their body, you know? They one are going through a lot of change internally and mentally, and they are struggling sometimes with friendships, with communication with parents. They're also like challenged at school and with teachers and coaches and things, and that can present in the body in ways that we think, oh, some no, they're fine, or maybe they have a stomach bug, or they, you know, again, they have headaches all the time, but it may be coming from their stress from outside sources. So a chiropractic adjustment helps to reset the body and the nervous system specifically. So we have the sympathetic system, which is at fight or flight, and a lot of people live there. And we have the parasympathetic system, which is at rest and digest, nice and calm. An adjustment can help to stabilize the nervous system so that we can adapt to our stressors and it doesn't present in our body in ways that maybe it shouldn't. And so I would encourage you get every child, every tween, every teen, every parent, an adjustment as often as you can just to help with the daily stresses of life.
Love it. Are there any other final thoughts you'd like to share with our Houston Moms audience?
The other thing is just making sure they're getting decent nutrition. Again, it's hard, you know, do the best you can. Like at least at home, you're buying most of the food, so we try to do as best as you can, and then they can have the treats when they're out with their friends and things, you know, but teaching them good healthy habits. And if they're not having the best habits, like maybe getting them on a couple of good supplements, highly recommend vitamin D with K. That's really good for the immune system, for growth and development, and omegas. That's really great for like brain development and for inflammation. And a probiotic. If you're giving your kids nothing, like at least give them vitamin D, an omega, and a probiotic.
I'm
Whatever you can
taking
get in
notes
their
right now.
system. Yeah. Like whatever they'll take, you know?
Dr. Pagnani, I really appreciate your time and your insight on some of these things. I know, there are some things I think I had to just have reiterated to me, reminded, even though, my kids are 19 and 20, they still need those reminders, and so do
They
I.
do.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
we appreciate you
Well, everyone, I'm sure parents, we're all doing our best, you know? That's all we can do. And
and live
lead
the
by
best.
example. Lead by example.
And that is where we will leave it today. If you want to learn more or connect with Dr. Pagnani, you can visit healthprochiro.com or find her on Instagram. New episodes of Moms in the Middle drop every Wednesday, so make sure you're following along. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you next week in the middle.